That's how it is. The latest news that has been attracting attention is finally leading to one major question. Is FIFA really considering the possibility of replaying the World Cup final between Argentina and Spain? If this plan were actually to become a reality, the soccer world would certainly be thrown into chaos. After all, we are not talking about an ordinary match, but a World Cup final that determines who has the right to take home the most prestigious trophy in the world. It all began with a demand submitted by the Argentine national team regarding various controversies that were said to have occurred during the match. The Argentine side believes that many decisions should be called into question, particularly those involving the referee's performance and the use of VAR. There have even been allegations that several key decisions during the match benefited one side. And now, the public's attention is focused on FIFA. What exactly will FIFA do? Could the match really be played again? And if the final is replayed, would the status of the previous champion also be called into question? This is the part that makes the situation even more intriguing. According to the latest developments that have been making headlines, FIFA is reportedly considering various possibilities as a solution to the controversy. One of the most surprising scenarios, of course, is the possibility of bringing Argentina and Spain together again in a match considered a rematch or replay. Of course, it is important to emphasize that the possibility of replaying a World Cup final would be something extremely extraordinary and would require an official decision from FIFA. Therefore, all information regarding such a plan should be viewed based on developments and official confirmation actually issued by FIFA, rather than simply relying on rumors circulating on social media. But imagine if that scenario actually happened. Argentina faces Spain again. The final is played once more. There are no more controversial decisions to debate. No more questions about VAR. No more arguments over whether a referee's decision changed the course of the match. And in the end, the two teams would have to determine for themselves who truly deserves to be crowned champion. That is what makes this possibility so intriguing. In the previous match, many people were surprised by the way the game unfolded. Argentina was said to be unable to display its best performance. Possession, pressure, chances, and various decisions on the field left many Argentine supporters wondering, what is actually going on? Argentina is a team known for being able to control major matches. They have experience, player quality, a winning mentality, and the ability to perform under pressure. Therefore, when their performance in that final was considered far below their usual standard, various speculations and questions began emerging among fans. One of the biggest issues, of course, involved the referee and VAR. There were several decisions that became the subject of debate, and for Argentine supporters, those decisions were considered highly detrimental to their team. This is where the demands began receiving greater attention. Argentina wanted an explanation regarding what actually happened during the match. If FIFA were to ultimately find serious violations of match procedures, the consequences could certainly be enormous. However, this is where we must distinguish between allegations, demands, investigations, and official decisions. News about a potential replay should not be treated as something that has already been confirmed if there has been no official announcement stating that the final will actually be played again. Nevertheless, if FIFA were to genuinely consider the possibility of a rematch, the scheduling would also be something very interesting to watch. One scenario that has been widely discussed is taking advantage of periods when Argentina and Spain are both scheduled to play friendly matches. If the two federations and FIFA were to reach an agreement, in theory, the match could be scheduled during a period that would allow the two teams to meet again. And if that happened, the soccer world would certainly stop for a moment to watch the match. Argentina versus Spain, once again. Not just a friendly, not simply a reunion match, but a match that could have extraordinary consequences for the history of the World Cup. The question then becomes, will Spain be able to retain its status as champion, or will Argentina get the opportunity to reclaim the trophy? That is what makes the possibility of a rematch so fascinating. Argentina would certainly come with a different level of motivation. They already know how Spain plays. They have experienced the pressure of the previous match. They also know what needs to be improved if they meet again. On the other hand, Spain would not come unprepared either. They have extremely talented players and would certainly want to prove that their victory was not because of a referee's decision, not because of VAR, and not because of anything that happened off the field, but because they were simply the better team in that match. That is why, if a rematch were actually to take place, the pressure would be on both teams. Spain would have to prove that they truly deserved to be champions. Argentina would have to prove that they truly deserved a second chance. And FIFA would have to ensure that the entire process was as transparent and fair as possible. There could be no more room for suspicion. No more unclear decisions. No more controversies that would once again cause the result of the match to be questioned. If a match as important as a World Cup final truly had to be played again, then that match would have to be placed under extremely strict supervision. The referee would have to operate at the highest possible standard. VAR technology would have to be used transparently, and every major decision would have to be fully accountable. Because this time, it would not just be the trophy at stake. FIFA's reputation would also be on the line. Just imagine Argentina and Spain actually standing on the field once again in a final that determines the world champion. The stadium is packed. Millions, even billions, of eyes are watching once again. Everyone is waiting for one thing. Who will win when there are no longer any controversial decisions to blame? Would Argentina finally prove that they should have been the champions all along? Or would Spain lift the trophy once again and prove that their previous victory was completely deserved? The answer, of course, could only be provided by the match itself. But before that happens, there are still many things that need to be confirmed. FIFA would need to explain whether there is actually a legal and regulatory basis that would allow the final to be played again. In addition, there would need to be clarity regarding the status of the previous result, the status of the trophy, and how such a decision would affect the history of the competition. So, for now, do not immediately assume that the World Cup final will definitely be replayed is an established fact. What matters far more is following official developments from FIFA and the federations involved. But one thing is certain. If FIFA truly opens the door to a rematch between Argentina and Spain, it would become one of the most shocking decisions in the history of modern soccer. And if that match actually happened, we could witness one of the most intense games ever played. Argentina would come to prove something. Spain would come to defend their honor. Meanwhile, FIFA would be under the world's microscope. So now, the question goes back to you. What do you think if Argentina and Spain were actually brought together again? Would you want to see the final replayed? Does Argentina really deserve a second chance? Or do you think the result of the previous match should be respected and left unchanged? Share your opinion in the comments. Who do you think would win if Argentina and Spain truly met again in a match that was far more transparent and free from controversy? Don't forget to keep following the latest developments in the world of soccer. Because if FIFA really makes a decision this significant, the history of the World Cup could change right before our eyes. See you in the next video.